Norman makes his way through the ominous door. A cooling fog washes over him as he presses on to the presumed inner sanctum of this reborn villain. The bizarre and alien architecture continues. Black pulsing monoliths delineate a grid in the centre of the room. A warm heat emanating from each one in this overall cold environ. Norman's eyes catch a figure moving away, silhouetted, but unmistakable tendrils curl away from its mouth. Norman's seen these before. Mind flayers. He's in one of their lairs, but the guards, the undead in particular, it just doesn't add up. He steadies himself when an interceding ball of long and stubby tendrils glides down from on high, from the top of the cavern, one central glazed-over eye. This is a guardian or servitor of this room. It's the morphed Mind Witness.
Oh, the Mind Witness.
Yes.
Witness the mind.
Witness me.
Mind Witness is a cool one. That's actually a really cool one.
The reason why I didn't thought about not doing it was because we haven't even done Beholder yet, but we don't really like Beholder, so...
You know, I literally yesterday thought of a way I like Beholder, but I can't talk about it because I'm using it in my campaign, so I can't tell you guys about my use of Beholder. Anyway, welcome, audience, to this great episode of the great show Challenge Raters. It's a D&D show where we three talk about a D&D monster. We give it a rating out of 20 based on its coolness and usefulness and its stats.
It's a goodness rating.
Yeah, it's a very good and important rating that you should pay attention to. And while that's all going on, I'm illustrating it on the screen. And my name's Theo.
I'm Neil, and I'm talking about it.
And I'm Sam, and I'm watching it being drawn and also listening to Neil talk about it.
Multitasker.
Yeah, I've got the hardest job here.
Now, luckily, and I think I mentioned this, I might have mentioned it when talking about the Death Tyrant back in the good old days. When drawing a Beholder, you start with a circle, and then, like all great Challenge Raters creatures, from the Glabrazoo and the Nuparibo, start with a circle and then work out from there. The Mind Witness is an interesting fellow.
He is very interesting.
Tell me about him.
Well, he has some very specific lore about his origin, but some non-specific lore about where you find him, which I quite like.
Sure.
The Mind Witnesses are beholders that have somehow been subdued by illithids and taken back and basically, infected with the Mind Flayer parasite.
Yeah.
And they transform into this, which is basically a beholder, but with the eldritch cranked up to 10.
Yeah. And I feel Beholders as well, okay, we've not talked about them on the show, but like Beholders already have kind of some of that eldritch stuff in them. They are very goofy, but they are also, if you I think you can do them very otherworldly and spooky. And this is that, as you say, like times 10.
There is a caveat to that.
Oh yeah, okay.
The rather interesting thing about them from their description is a little thing called solitary seekers, where it says, if it's separated from its illithid masters, a Mind Witness often seeks out other telepathic creatures to tell it what to do. And
yes.
Mind Witnesses have been known to ally with flumphs.
I have seen. Yes, that I have. I do remember reading that because I was very pleased.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and other telepathic planar beings such as demons and basically anything under the sun that can telepathically talk to it, and you might be able to recruit one.
I now would love the idea of like a flock of flumps trying to make one good.
It says its alignment changes to match its new masters.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So literally it would be like a friendly, terrifying eyeball monster hanging out with the flumps, who themselves are like weird flying jellyfish things.
They would obviously accept him willingly.
By the way, I have a very specific... I already know exactly what I want this to look like, and it's very difficult, as you might have noticed from me deleting everything several times. There's a lot of perspective that's going to go on if I get this right, and I might have to completely rework it once the sketch is done, but that's fine. Anyway... Don't worry about it. Just an upward shot at the ceiling with some weird pillars. Don't worry about it.
Pretty good.
It's gonna be easy. Question mark? Anyway. But yeah, so it looks for psychic lads, is the thing.
Their primary purpose that they were made for by mind flayers was that they actually get turned into kind of a hub of telepathic networks.
It's like a phone exchange.
So anything that gets told to them, they can tell to creatures within 600 feet of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's basically like they're psychic loudspeakers.
That's kind of cool. That's actually... Because it's not something that I think needed an explanation for Mind Flayer stuff, because, I think for monsters you can always assume the rules are a bit different for them for, communication and things. But it's cool that there is an answer for, how they do things a bit differently.
Yeah, and I also like the idea of Mind Flayers taking a lesser race and then making it useful to them.
Of course, yeah. Whether or not beholders... Of course, I think a singular beholder would be much tougher than any Mind Flayer, but they would definitely consider anything a lesser race. That's
exactly.
The Mind Flayer thing. Isn't it? Did we talk about when we did the Mind Flayer? It was so long ago. Did we talk about Ceramorphosis? I feel like we did probably a little bit,
I
but...
cannot remember.
We touched on it with the teeniest little finger.
Yeah,
because there's a lot to talk about in Mind Flayers, and it was the first one, I guess.
Yeah. I think we may have talked about it actually when we did the Neolithid, which of course is another creature that's a
in that happy family.
In the happy family of Mind Flayer things, but when things go wrong with their breeding program.
The reason why that they're so subservient is because they're taught to follow commands psionically. So if anything else gives them a sonic command, they will just follow it.
Okay, so and again we're talking about our other excellent show, relatively recently, about the psychic classes. If you've got a Psi-Knight on side, then they can just tell this guy, hey, stop and help us out. Assuming he's not got a Mind Flayer there to tell him, actually no.
Actually no, ignore him. Keep doing what you're doing. This becomes like a game of psychic verbal tennis.
You might be able to see now why this is going to kill me with this perspective.
Oh, I think I'm getting it.
I'm gonna have to completely redo this. I think
it's towering over the cityscape.
Well, it's yeah, cityscape, but it's more like, I don't know. There's gonna be weird monoliths. Is the idea, I suppose. Oh my god, this is the hardest thing I've ever. Why am I doing this? Anyway,
this has been an easy show.
Oh, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's a good idea. Anyway, don't worry about it.
We'll keep talking about Mind Witness.
I'll figure it out.
So
I'm thinking Norman can be behind one of these, and it's peeking around like a squiddy from the Matrix. Anyway,
love it. Squiddies are great. So it doesn't have as many eye rays as a regular beholder, which we haven't done on Challenge Rate as a regular beholder with all of its myriad of rays I don't want to be hit by.
Yeah, not one of them is good.
The bad time rays.
Yeah,
the bad rays.
These ones are nowhere near as bad.
Okay. Is it lower in challenge rating then?
Yes, by quite a bit.
Okay.
So in challenge rating 5. So.
Whoa! I did not expect that.
I guess it plays into them kind of making it. By making it less intelligent, that's what beholders are meant to be.
Of course, they're turning it into. It's not just practically a modem.
Yeah.
They're literally making it into a device, basically. And that explains why its alignment will change based on who's giving orders, and it will follow anything. It's like a mindless drone. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting.
And 4 of its rays have been removed because they've been turned into tentacles.
I think technically for this perspective to work out, I'm going to have to zoom out, which I don't want to be doing on this show. I don't want to show the edges of the Photoshop. the void. The dark void of Photoshop. But I think I have to have the vanishing point, art terms, somewhere in the sky for it to make sense. Don't worry about it.
This is the real art stream now.
Well, this is
behind the scenes.
I mean, this is how I think it works. It's been a while. Don't worry about it. Again.
Should we try to chuck some numbers at you about it?
Let's think about its stuff, because I'll be interested to actually hear what it does. Because again, I would have assumed it was a lot higher. What with it, A, having such a cool piece of art in the book, and B, being such a combination of two pretty strong things.
I mean, the CR is halved compared to a regular one.
Wow! Right? Yeah. Okay, so sure. What does it do? Let's go with its ability stats actually. Yeah.
Sure. So 15 AC, only 75 hit points. Fly speed of 20. and it can hop.
Oh, so it's slow too. Sure.
Yeah, it's slower, weaker, easier to hit. I imagine. I've not looked at the Beholder stat block for a very long time.
No, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, its stat like array isn't like that great. To be honest, it only has a +2 at most. But it has a +2 in everything apart from charisma and strength, which are 10.
Okay, so it still has some. It still is intelligent, but it's not.
It's only it's fine. It's a +2.
It's not a genius anymore, like it once was.
But it does have a +8 to perception. It got those eyes still.
Got them eyes.
It can see you real good.
I wish Yaz had these stats.
No, please.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
You rolled bad, and it's your fault.
You deserve everything you get.
As I was saying to Tombstone earlier, he's my favourite. That's why he got the good stats. I rigged the game. No.
It knows deep speech, undercommon, and has telepathy of 600 feet, as we discussed before, with its ability. And that pretty much covers all of its things there. Oh, can't be not prone. The most important thing to know, of course.
Now that, prone... I will say prone is not the worst thing to happen. I swear... We must have knocked things prone a lot in 4th, because we talked about it a shitload. Like, we talked so much about knocking things prone. It must have been good, right? Or maybe it was just easier to do.
Lots of abilities to knock things prone.
Yeah, I think that might have just been it. Like, we just did it more, so we talked about it more.
I mean, advantage is always good. Like,
yeah.
Or what it was like a +2 or whatever it was.
I think it was a flat +2 back then, but anyway.
It has multi-attack. It can make 2 attacks, one of its tentacles and one of its bite. They're right. It's only like a +5 to hit.
Well, the tentacles are interesting because I believe it's literally the Mind Flayer ability.
Oh, okay, so that's unchanged.
They deal a bit. The tentacles deal a bit of psychic damage, and then you get grappled, and if you fail an intelligence save, you're stunned until the grapple ends.
Okay.
So you can't escape in that time because you can't use your action to break free of the grapple.
Yeah.
So it grabs you and stuns you, and then I guess it just fires you full of rays until you die.
It's good to have that, obviously, as a link to its.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Mind Flayer influence, as you would.
For sure. Okay, now I'm going to actually draw the creature now.
Oh,
we've got something going on with this. We can draw the creature. There's the ball. Oops. Okay, how many tentacles and stuff does Mind Flayer? Mind Flayer? Oh my god, my brain. What are these guys?
6 eye rays.
Okay, and
6 eye rays, 4 tentacles.
Okay, so it has 10. That's right. They do have 10 usually. Beholders. Okay, cool. Sure, yeah. So it can whip you and stun you with its tentacles.
And it's mean. Nice. It's mean. It does that.
And I guess actually to think about this is as it's lower. You could actually have a couple of these in a fight. So you might not want it to do its lasers. You might want one doing its eye beams, and another couple doing the tentacles potentially. That could be it. That could be a thing.
With like a permanent stun, you could even float down, grapple a guy, and suddenly start floating away.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, let's hear the meat and potatoes of its beams.
Sure. So it will fire 3 at random, and you reroll on duplicates.
Okay.
And it's 120 foot range, and they're all a DC 13 save, so not super high, but just to get that out of the way first of all. So the first one is Aversion Ray. The target creature must make a Charisma saving throw, and a failed save target disadvantage on attack rolls for 1 minute. And the target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns.
Okay, so just like a
disadvantage ray.
A disadvantage ray for attacks. Yeah, pretty simple, but sure.
And you've got a fear ray, which will do it's a wisdom save, and obviously will make them frightened for a minute, and they can repeat at their end again. Then you have a psychic ray, which is DC 13 intelligence saving throw, or they take 68 psychic damage. Ow.
68. Whoa.
68.
And you can't repeat things, as you say that, right? You can't do 3 of those, but randomly, can it?
No, you can't do 3, I guess, in its attack.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so you're only getting one of those, luckily. You have a slowing ray, which is dex save. On a fail, your speed is half for a minute. You can't take reaction, so basically a slow spell. You have to take either an action or a bonus action on your turn, but not both. And you have a saving throw at the end of your turn. Slow's a really good spell, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's a good one for a creature like this. I imagine that's probably a regular beholder ability actually, but like having something kind of eerie and floating around that like can also like slow you down. You can definitely play with like some weird gravity kind of effects like that as well. The way that could feel.
And it's got a 50% chance of doing that every time.
Sure,
because it's got 6 rays and it gets 3 of them every time.
Oh, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a fair point. Any of these, yeah. That's actually
So
a good
that'll
point.
be happening a lot, which is good. Monsters don't live too long. I don't think this would live too long against a party if it was on its own.
Even
at
against
that
like an
level.
appropriate level, yeah.
So it's good to get a few of them out. The fifth one is Stunning Ray, which is con save or be stunned for a minute, which is not nice.
For a minute.
Yeah, obviously you can again save at the
Save
start
against
of
it, but still,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's not very nice.
That's pretty mean.
The last one is Telekinetic Ray, which is a strength saving throw. On a failed save, it can move you up to 30 feet in any direction, and you're restrained by the telekinetic grip until the start of the Mind Witness's next turn, or until it is incapacitated.
Okay, so it has so it can just move you 30 feet.
Yes.
But like that could be straight up, for example.
Yeah, if it also specifies if you're weighing 300 pounds or less.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, that's for objects, because it's that bit of the description actually says that the Mind Witness can opt to use the ray to like do a door or mechanism or move an object in the room.
Right.
So
okay.
if you had like, I don't know, bookshelves or something, you could start pulling them down on people or flip the switch for the trap or something.
If it's got a goal, if it has a quest that it's trying to fulfill during the fight, which I suggest is a cool thing to do with the fight.
It'd be being given instructions all the time.
Yeah. Maybe it's moving stuff around. Maybe I've kind of drawn it deliberately so in when it's finished, I hope will kind of resemble a server room. So it's doing like maintenance and stuff in there, and it's using its psychic stuff to move big blocks around, plug things in various places. And if the party disrupts that, maybe then that could be good in the fight and disruptive in some way.
I believe that Matt Colville's campaign, he used one of these as the navigator for his Illithid ship.
That's good. A biological computer.
Yeah.
All 6 beams. Okay, so it has
Low
damage.
death.
It only has one nasty damaging beam. The rest of it is inconvenience beams.
Yes.
I feel. So this
hamper the party.
No anti-magic cone either.
Nope.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I feel like, and again, we were talking about this with Burdock and so on. Actually, which is very very fresh in my mind. Which is that like, it's sometimes hard to say when a creature is like meant to be or can be used as a low level boss or a high level villain. I don't think this would make a great low level boss because most of its stuff is just inconveniencing and slowing down the fight as opposed to actually like being very threatening. Like it will definitely it could smoke a guy at lower level, but then that's not fun boss. That's just I rolled its death beam and you die. The rest of it is just like we're just being stunned and it's taking hours. So this is like a really good thing to have in conjunction with some other creatures, definitely, or even like as part of a puzzle and stuff.
Just in the way it is, like in its lore, it doesn't seem set to be a end boss fight.
Sure, yeah, and that's true as well. The law of it, if you wanted to use that.
I mean, obviously you can do what you want
with
with it, that's fine. But
definitely, yeah.
I'd also think that like at that challenge rating, if you had a 5th level party of this, they would cream it pretty quickly.
It's like an interesting thing though, because when one would say, it's a beholder mind flayer, like that sounds like end boss for like a mid-level campaign kind of thing, but it's much more interesting that it's not that, I think, actually.
I mean, let's not forget though, if you are having it in an encounter at that level, it can sit 120 feet in the sky, and it can cast 3 rays at you every round.
Yeah. If you give it that much room.
And it has like 70 hit points, so if you've just got the ranger and the wizard plinking at it...
Ranger plinking is very unkind to the kind of damage that they can do, but yes, I do get your point. One character being able to hit this guy would be... It's the old dragon thing. Dragon sits up 180 feet in the sky, waiting for its breath to recharge.
Yeah, or if it's got spell casting.
It's just killing you.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry guys.
But it kind of makes a lot of sense with the Mind Witness because it's slow and it's also kind of like observation, communication. It could be just sitting in the roof of a dungeon room.
As almost a living trap, and like an interesting explanation for like the way it works in a mind flayery dungeon or whatever, or psychic dungeon, I think that makes it worth it for that. If it's something that the players like research or find out about, it means if they are planning like a a raid or a complicated attack on a mind flare colony or something, then knowing we got to take out the mind witness, like in like a heist almost. We got to hack the computers. We got to take down the security. That's the first thing, because it's not super high like difficulty. It's something that is really critical to do early because of what it does, not because of how strong it is.
Break them as communications.
Yeah, as quickly as possible. That could be kind of cool, I feel.
That could be really cool, particularly in like if they're being like illithid away teams or whatever,
Now the difficulty is for a party to realize and figure these things out in the heat of the game and decide on it. But maybe some Duragar who know about it could warn them, or Drow or whatever. Yeah. If it's an Underdark thing, of course.
Well, the another thing that it can technically do, I guess, from its other usage that we talked about, is like flumps can't speak, so maybe it can speak for flumps.
It speaks for the flumps.
I can't do like a drone. Like I imagine it speaks like
This one is not impressed.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Sovereign, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Assuming direct controls.
They're just completely like hollow and modulated voice. That could be very cool for it.
Completely modulated voice, but it's a flump, so it's like, are you having a nice day?
How can I assist you?
Have any bad memories you need devoured?
Oh yeah, they eat memories. They eat the bad thoughts, don't they? The flumps. Oh.
What good eggs?
Is that like its whole thing for its abilities? Then obviously I'm not saying that's not nothing at all, but that's its whole lot.
That's its shtick.
That's the mind witness in stat.
Does it have something written down about how it can do the amplified telepathy and stuff?
Yes, yeah.
So it's
telepathic hub.
Okay, cool.
While the mind witness receives a telepathic message, it can telepathically share that message with up to 7 creatures within 600 feet it can see.
Okay, that's cool.
And then in its description, the primary function of a mind witness is to improve telepathic communication in mind flayer colonies.
Definitely like that, you say, that telephone operator kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
That is exactly what it does, and that is pretty fun.
You could have, theoretically, because of one problem with the mind flayer enemy, as just a mind flayer, is that they don't have a wicked table of 6 things they could do every round. They have...
That's the thing, they got a couple... The Mind Flayer's a cool enemy. It's up there from our... We rated it pretty high for good reason, but...
And it goddamn kills you with its psychic powers.
It tries to eat your brain.
It has that one combo that it does, and then,
It doesn't really run one trick to ruin a party's campaign.
It'll stun you, and then it'll try and eat your brain. And if that don't work, then,
Then it'll punch you, I guess. But
it'll come at you with its sword. They have like weapons.
But if you are in the illithid colony, right? Fighting your way through, kicking ass, taking names, a group of 3 illithids and a mind witness being the base group you run into, because the mind witnesses are literally like sonic battering around, or even if the mind witnesses are just with the other lesser slave races like Quagoffs and stuff like that to be the voice of the elder
that could
brain.
Be cool. Yeah. Now I also realise that what I've basically drawn is an aboleth, but don't worry about it.
It's got eye stalks. That's completely different.
This is relatively. I remember the design. The design of the book's kind of cool. It's up and down, isn't it? It's kind of this cool diamond thing.
Yeah.
It looks pretty. You could almost imagine like a little graphic for like a communication company being made out of a designy version of one of those.
It kind of looks like the Daleks in the Doctor Who reboot, the actual alien inside.
Oh, I see. Sure. Actually, no. I think I have seen that, and I think you're right. No, fair enough.
I think they have one eye as well.
To be fair, the Mind Flayers are quite a Doctor Who enemy.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
A little bit more violent, but not even completely sometimes.
No, I can imagine an episode about underground squid men that kidnap people and...
There was that scene in the remake one where a bunch of homeless people get cut up by saws. It doesn't show it full on, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
And they get made into robot men.
Totally legit. The Mind Witness is a totally legit Doctor Who monster. I think we're done. I don't think your art is done. But
no, I'm gonna have to get on this. But no, is there, before we finish. But is there any? Because we do occasionally talk about I think using this as it is awesome. I think it's really really cool. And if you're doing a Mind Flayer colony, this is essential, because otherwise you're just gonna have essential to make it really cool and feel in depth, as opposed to just a big
There's
room
lots of
full
mind
of bad
flayers.
guys. So this is awesome. Is there anything kind of not within like the bounds of what it says usually.
I think outside of not really much outside of what we said of it, leaving and then it comes down to, because the only other way it'd be somewhere is if someone else was using it that has psionic.
What are there any other psychic creatures that like could be? I guess again, if you have like a psionic party member because they've got the psionic classes, if they're high enough level, you can have one of these like. Not as a pet, that's not right, but as an
follower.
ally, like in on your airship that I assume you have because you're a high level party.
Why haven't you got an airship?
Yeah, why haven't you?
Step it up.
Like the grey render as well. It's very similar.
Yeah,
very high challenge rating monster that its lore is explicitly like it bonds with adventurers.
Oh yeah, the dog thing. Yeah, the horrible dog, which is it'll like be whoever's friend if the first person that's nice to it or whatever.
But it could be a very good early hint that something is wrong because of like, I don't know, we're talking about mind flayer stuff like with control, but what about we talking about Phantom of the Opera Town with cults and things,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
Imagine if a mind witness was the leader of the cult, but it's only the leader of the cult because it's psychically just telling everyone around it what it's being heard somewhere else. And then the revelation is you hear that the evil thing that they were talking to was actually just a radio.
Yeah, it's just picking up, and that could be like a Twilight Zone thing where it's not even like anything more sinister than that. It's literally just picking up lost signals and they're being misinterpreted potentially. Like it's just sitting and it doesn't have any orders. It's just like latching onto whatever tiny thoughts people are having and like amplifying them. That could be kind of interesting.
And if you have maybe like you are doing mind flayers deep underground, potentially later in your campaign, having just one aimless or one bonded to another psychic race or creature could be great. A weird underdark merchant guy that is psionic that has one that follows him around and he doesn't really understand it.
It doesn't follow him around, but like goes and advertises for him, and it's like, okay, if you these guys are cool, tell them the actual secret location of my cool shop, and then it's a Nothic shopkeeper.
Yeah, a Nothic shopkeeper would be great with one of these. Maybe.
Oh my god, I love that combo.
Maybe the shopkeeper doesn't even know he's psychic.
Sure, yeah.
And the creature's just following him around.
It's like, oh, this guy seems he does everything I say. Before I even say it.
Maybe
as I think
maybe your character is psionic and your psionic background is something about like, I don't know, psionic school, and they use a mind witness to decide if you're psychic or not because it can tell your latent psionics because it seeks them out.
Yeah, picks it up the sorting hat.
The sorting mind witness.
Just sit that on you. That'll be fun.
It puts its tentacles around your head.
Yeah, there you go. We do like to try and think of something out there, but I think because we like mind flayers and we like their stuff, using this one in conjunction with that is just good. And I think there's some cool things you could do, but I wouldn't. If you change it too much, then you're basically just ignoring the things that make it what it does. Like it's meant to be like a dumbed down beholder that's been like enslaved to a certain degree.
It should have no initiative of its own.
That's the thing, yeah. Otherwise, it's like, because you'd have to change too much. If you want like a psychic mind flayer beholder, you probably should start with the beholder and change that, as opposed to starting with this and then changing it into something stronger. I think that's probably...
Only thing that you could do if you wanted to do that would be a funny adventure where maybe one of them regained some semblance of sanity and took control of a flump colony.
You know what, actually, if you want to foreshadow or like explain to the party how important this thing is to destroy if they're taking on Mind Flayer Colony, having a friendly one with flumps to like highlight that could be good, because like, this one, we've been introduced to this one, as it were, this is what it does, oh gosh, we've got to make sure that the actual bad ones don't have a chance to do that, because then we're screwed.
Maybe the flumps can tell you where the mind flayers are because they passed through that area and this guy just started following them, like afterwards, like, and then that's how you get there, is the flumps end up telling you.
Yeah.
Don't go there, it's bad.
Don't take him back there, because then he'll start killing us. Please don't mention this to him.
He gets a little bitey.
Yeah. He starts stunning us with his tentacles. Let's think about a number then. Because I'm tempted to go higher, but I think that's because I like the the idea of like a whole really straightforward but well done Mind Flayer dungeon, which I think this is like an essential part of, as opposed to actually fighting this creature in the game or using it as a DM as its stats. Like the beams are fun, but it's not. It's just a weaker version when it comes to like the attacks it does. Like the function is all in that psychic thing and the way you use it because of that, not in the actual stats of it. If that makes sense.
Security camera.
Yeah.
Start doing elimination. Are we thinking above 10? Surely. Or are we?
I'm drifting towards 10 because I really like its things, but I always think I'm always trying to remember to think like, do its stats really reflect that? And it does have that ability, and it's definitely more interesting. I think like if we think about other like the Death Tyrant that we did, I think I prefer Death Tyrant to this because I think it's more different and unique and interesting.
Can I speak in this monster's stat defense?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah. I'm not sold either way. How I feel.
The reason why I would go above 10 is because of everything we described about it. It's a support unit. If we're thinking from RTS or MOBA standpoint, it is a support unit, and its rays are all support.
Yes,
that is true. So it is actually that. That's a fair point. Yeah, that is actually very true. It is built around the thing that's meant to do. So that is fair enough. Actually,
it's gonna harass and annoy a party.
Like it can float over and grapple you, and then it can't really do anything else.
Actually, the Mind Flayer Brain Eat is on a stunned, grappled target, right? But it doesn't.
Oh, he grabs people and drags them to them.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be its own one. Presumably, it could be one of these guys. Ooh, that makes You know what? That ups it. That synergy. Synergy.
And there is a roll. There is a random table technically here, so
there is a random table.
Random table's fun, and okay. I'm happy to be above 10. I don't know. I would be hard pressed to go more above 12 personally.
Well, we try and make this a true scale, and we're not a namby-pamby, 7 is a 5 kind of scale,
this is a scale. We want people to use this scale.
So it's meant to be the gold standard. That's the end goal.
So I would say that this creature is more interesting than it is not, but it is very shoeboxed. So I'm gonna go 11.
Yeah,
It's better than it's bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I think 11 on its... Yeah, you know what, 11. I think 11 is good. Because, we gave Mind Flayer 16, and I think a lot of that was because of everything around Mind Flayer, as it were. So, this times the Mind Flayer is the true score for both of those things.
Yeah.
But if it were to be true to either, they would be different, as it were. But, yeah, I think 11, I feel good about that.
If we grouped all of the Mind Flayerama
the Mind Flayer family.
Yeah, if we gathered it all together,
big reunion
it's
around
a
the
20.
Table. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is a pure 20 altogether.
And also as well, the design of it is very cool. It's a cool creature if you look at the actual art. I think I've done something I'm not too ashamed of so far. These are going to be big black monoliths with little glowy lights around it. It is going to be a tower of PC pits.
I like it. Tower of Power.
Tower of Xbox sexes.
Oh, they're all fridges.
No fridges.
But yeah, so a good monster, and one, again, if you're doing Mind Flayers, I think you kind of
really consider putting it in there.
And again, like any psychic creature, this is a cool... Again, it's not something I think players will question. How has this guy found out this? Oh, he's psychic. Okay. I don't think they're going to be like, yeah, psychics only got this much range. But some of them might, and then if they do, you can be like, well, they've got Mind Witness, so shut up. Screw you. Yeah, that's only 600 feet. Get the tape out. Get the measuring tape out. This ain't right.
Didn't say whose feet. It was Giant's feet.
Now, Norman, of course, isn't psychic, so this guy's not... Or maybe he is, and then he could just say, go away. Now, that's an easy way to end this scenario. Oh, I can't discuss
Nothing
psychic.
to see here.
Nothing... He does a Jedi mind trick on him. Maybe we'll decide by the beginning of next episode how Norman gets away from this sticky situation. Maybe a friend will come in and save him in Deus Ex Machina. Maybe the eagle. Next episode's giant eagle, as an eagle flies in from the top up here and comes and eats him. Lord of the Rings jokes. I guess it's time for everyone's favorite part of the episode. Which is
I hope you don't mind if I get in right now and say subscribe.
Nice, very good, very good. I didn't even know. You didn't even warn me. That was just a good bit. I guess someone could shout "witness me" or something, but then that's just a different reference with the same word in it. Is there like you need to subscribe. I was going to try and make a Ceramorphosis and the subscribe morphosis sort of a joke. I'll put that away for a different thing. I'll put that away for the ultra third.
Oh, but that one's stored.
If you enjoyed witnessing this video, leave a like.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. What
You've very little to go on now, Theo.
You know what? The comment section is kind of like a mind witness. You can put something in there,
and we'll see
then
it.
People all more than 600 feet for the internet. Surprisingly,
yeah, that's true.
I think in 2010 they upped the distance from 600 feet to the whole planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. These days you can just chuck your psychic messages onto your keyboard. Keyboards are kind of like psychic. Because you use your brain to move your fingers.
This is a long...
To type the message.
How about I raid every comment?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I thought you were making a Raid Shadow Legends.
I at first did, and I was like, no, he hasn't. It's much worse.
I like my joke about how the comments
your joke
are
that still hasn't ended.
Yeah, your 25-minute joke.
Guys, and your selfish jokes trying to amuse other people. I'm trying to amuse myself here.
Alright,
yeah,
so keyboards.
Keyboards are telepathic because...
That was like, I got lost there. That wasn't part of it. That was just me.